Thank you for staying with us. It was an emotional scene in Kaduna State when bandits released 28 students abducted from Bethel Baptist College in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. The parents received their children with tears of joy after they were freed on Saturday night, having spent 21 days in the den of their abductors. But for parents and guardians of the remaining 87 children still in captivity, their sleepless nights continue. Meanwhile, the Emir of Muri Empire in Taraba State, Alhaji Abbas Tafida, has issued a 30-day ultimatum to criminal headsmen to vacate forest within the state or be forced to do so. This followed rising cases of kidnapping, killings, and attacks in the states by criminals herders. 28 school children released, 87 to go, Babajide. And I don't envy those ones that are still waiting for their children. I don't envy them. Congratulations to those ones that their children were released after 21 terrible, harrowing experience.
Honestly, the CAN chairman in Kaduna State, his son was one of those who escaped. This set of abductees, some of them ran away. You know, some of them ran away. Sometimes they send them on errands and they just use the opportunity to escape. It's unfortunate that it has now reached the point that government is showing absolutely, look at that boy's hair, for example. See how unkempt. Look at them. Even if you see your child in this state, in this very, very unwholesome state, you even shed tears because you know that ordinarily, look at his hair.
This now collapsed.
For some of them, for some of them, their children are not back. So it's enough pains for those ones. That's why they are crying that, oh, when will our own, they must have been looking forward to the receipt of their children. Now to be there and be told that, look, your child is not
good for any mother.
Yes.
No mother will.
And they have been extorting money. These are people who are struggling, but they can't leave their children in the den of these guys without doing something about it.
So what kind of
you come up and say the people should not pay ransom. Who will not pay ransom? Even you that you are making the law. If your child is there and you truly love that child, you will pay. That is the fact. There is nothing.
So these guys down there.
What is of greater value than human life? A child that you sad by yourself, even an adopted child, you still want to take absolute care of that child. So who is that parent who will simply not be bothered and not want to do whatever it takes to get his child out of captivity? It is not the fault of these children. Look at the way they are looking.
What they were wearing the day they were captured.
Yes.
The school uniform.
It's the same dress.
21 days ago.
Yes, in the bush. Beaten by mosquitoes, you know, and all that. It's now looking like it's a normal thing for people to be kidnapped. Especially this Kaduna state that has become something else. Bandits are running riot in that state and we appear to be powerless. I was saying yesterday, how can bandits get as close as Marabanjos? It's like they've entered Kaduna now because you can trek from that place. How far is Marabanjos to the old toll gate there of Kaduna? This is what we face. Look at these children. These children will never recover from this.
That trauma.
They will keep remembering. Look at that boy looking blank. You know what that means.
Living like animals.
That boy is just looking blank. You know what it means. We have a situation now that children as young as 17, they don't want to stay in our country.
Yes.
They don't want to stay in our country.
Yes.
Some will say, no, I don't want to school in Nigeria.
That's
when they
eventually
get a chance to go and school abroad, they will say they are not coming back home. This is the thing. That is the kind of country that we are breeding.
Chikibi, my own concern is that, you know, some people, when you tell them about basic things of life, some things are, you know, they will tell you that, look, my government is there, my government can provide this, and this, and this for me. And in Nigeria, if the state government cannot do anything, cannot intervene in this situation, the federal government is, I don't understand. Now, it's now the parents that are now interfacing with the bandits. I was even told that some bandits, they will count money. After counting money, and if they feel that the money is not complete, they will hold the person
who brought it,
that brought the ransom. Free reign. So these bandits now, they have the effrontery of telling the parents now that we'll be releasing them in batches.
As you go. We are in dire straits as a country. When people ask, what was Somalia like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this is what Somalia is. Bandits, the terrorists, whatever name you want to call them, have carved out fiefdoms for themselves within a state, and they rule that state with all impunity. And this has what makes it worse is that this has no ideological bearing.
Yeah.
It's not because they want to go to heaven. That's why it's difficult
to call them terrorists.
It's not because they want to go to heaven.
It doesn't fit the definition of terrorism.
Purely to inflict pain in order to make money.
It's commercial.
The first law, even in the Nigerian constitution, the only first duty given to the Nigerian government is the security of lives and property. That's the only legitimate thing that you have. After a part of that, you are just like any other usurper. Because if you cannot defend and protect your citizens who freely give you their freedom through their votes and say you are the best man for this job, please protect us. You have the mandate to protect them and you fail. That is failure. And it's not, no matter how much people want to grandstand, like you said, no matter how much they say the governor is there or the president is there, if it's the result that matters. My old boss in Punch will tell you, it's not the effort, it's the result.
Yes.
I don't want to know how long
they don't want to hear
to get the story. I want the story.
That's the Bayo Nonoga way. It's not interested
so it's not about how many Tucano jets you bought. It's not really about how many new soldiers you are bringing in. What have they done to stop this nonsense? And what we are doing, we don't seem to realize, is that we are losing a whole generation of Nigerians who are already shipping out, not physically, mentally, from Nigeria. And that's worse. We already have a generation now that is still here physically, but they've left mentally.
Yes.
These ones are going to leave both physically and mentally.
People go to school in Cyprus now.
People just want to get out of Nigeria.
No, they just want to be out of here.
People don't care.
The rate of emigration from Nigeria has gone up at a geometric rate.
Now the emir of Muri in Taraba State is now issuing this kind of ultimatum. And I look at it and, for the emir to come out to bust out like that and saying that if you don't leave our territory, this kind of ultimatum was the ultimatum that Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu gave.
No, he did not even give ultimatum.
Not this ultimatum.
It's not
registration.
The governor said, come and register to use our forest. The governor never used the kind of words that this emir has used. Yet we saw
the kind of
Garuba Shehu take him on. The governor said, we want to know those who are in our forest.
Identify you.
Register to graze in our forest. That's what he said. And the Mieti Allah members in the state, they were in that meeting. Remember, we interviewed them. They said there's nothing wrong about it. But we had people at the federal level making all kinds of noise. People were even saying no, that people can go anywhere they like.
But the alacrity in which the presidency even reacted.
Yes. Now look at an emir who is worried that criminal headsmen are kidnapping his people. He's already tired of the fact that they are paying ransom to criminals that they harbored, that they received warmly. And he's saying, look, let me even quote some of what he said.
Directly.
Because there are people who have asked me that, when is Garuba Shehu going to talk about this thing? As if I'm the one who determines when Garuba Shehu issues press statement. Now, he said, look at what this man is saying. We will not ask, he said, henceforth, anyone caught conniving with these criminals, we will kill his mother, his father, and brothers. That's what he said. And he chose the occasion of the Eid prayers to say these things. Then the emir also said, we will not ask of his name, Say when they get to the forest and they see anyone, we will not ask of his name or mission. We will just kill him. There is no way one bastard will inhabit the forest only to keep coming to kidnap us for ransom, rape our women, and kill our people. That's what he said. Did Arakuni Akredolu go to this extent? He didn't go to this extent, and it was like heaven should fall over the man with the white beard. He didn't go to this extent. He said, register. The Mieti Allah in the state said yes. This thing, it can be really frustrating. Do you know how much people in his kingdom will have paid before the emir got angry? At this stage, he's probably not even thinking of losing the stool. Do you know how much ransom he will have paid?
How many, the amount of damage?
Yes, and the damage done to, you rape people's women.
You kill them, they go to the farm, they don't come back. And
you want them to keep quiet. And a lot of these people have said repeatedly are not Nigerians. Let me tell you, some of these people that some of our people want to kill themselves over, if you stand in front of them to speak even Hausa to them, they will not understand. But if you speak French, they will answer.
After about 9 months of legal fireworks, the ghost of the October the 20th, 2020 governorship election in Ondo State is finally buried. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu and his party, the All Progressives Congress, followed their victories at the lower tribunal and the Court of Appeal with the ultimate triumph at the Supreme Court. In a 4-3 judgment, the 7-justice panel of the Apex Court sounded the death knell on the case by dismissing the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and its candidate Eyitayo Jegede against the victory of Mr. Akeredolu for lack of competence. Now, BKO, how do you react to this? Yes, you predicted that this would be the core issues before the panel, and the panel has the Supreme Court has so ruled.
Yes, as I said the last time we discussed this matter, I did not expect the Supreme Court to take a decision outside of the facts laid before the appeal court. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, because Mai Mala Buni was not joined in this matter. That was a fatal error on the part of Jegede and his team. The outcome will most likely have been different if he was joined, because when you fail to join him, you give him no chance to defend himself. And you are trying to pin all of this on the fact that Mai Mala Buni contravened Section 183 of the Constitution by holding two positions. By the letters of the Constitution, Mai Mala Buni is not permitted to act in the position of acting chairman of the APC. That is clear. It's a happy day for the APC. And I know that Governor Akeredolu and his team had sleepless nights. One, they didn't even know those who would be on the panel. So they were, until the very last minute, the members of the panel were made known. So they were then in two minds, what will happen, and they knew that Section 183 could bite the party. Yes, it's 4-3, but the majority judgment is deemed as the judgment of the Supreme Court. We had, let me go to the judges, the way they voted. Justice Mary Peter Odili, as the presiding judge, voted for Jegede, supported Jagede's position. She wanted the appeal to succeed. Justice Ejembi Eko also wanted the appeal to succeed. Justice Ibrahim Musa Saulawa wanted Jagede's appeal to be accepted. And then we had Justice M.L. Garuba for Akeredolu, Justice Inyang Okoro for Akeredolu, Justice Emmanuel Akemaye Ajim for Akeredolu, and last but not the least, Justice Tijani Abubakar for Akeredolu. It was I see it as a good thing that we had this kind of judgment. It doesn't always happen for Supreme Court judges to go against one another in the manner that they have done. But I think it's good for the system if occasionally we have this kind of dissenting judgments. And as I said, the APC were very lucky. On another day, they would have lost this case.
All right. I will get back to you on that tail end of your initial remarks. But PC, how do you react? It was rather close, looking at the margin between or among the 7 justices of the Supreme Court. And for many observers before that judgment was delivered, it was a novel decision. You know, the fact that the crucial issues in this particular petition, seen as a governor who is also acting as the head of a major political party. But how do you view this decision?
Well, let me first of all congratulate Governor Akeredolu for his victory. You know, at least is there, otherwise it will have been removed. But I think, as Babajide rightly pointed out, the only reason why Governor Akeredolu is still occupying his seat now is because the Supreme Court decided to look to use a technical issue to, you know, throw out Jegede's suit. And from what Justice Odili said, you can see that it's not as if it was smooth. You can have an idea of what could have transpired even among these justices of the Federation, in the fact that Justice Odili said she does not see any reason why Buni should be, his name should be stated, while APC as a party is already included in that suit. And that it's like, it's almost normal for you to see APC and its acting chairman as one. So now removing him from the party, that is what she was opposed to, and all the other judges. So, and
who were on her side.
On her side. So you can see that really it's very close to call, but thank God that he got it right. I think it's also a good lesson for whoever is taking anybody to court these days. Jegede himself being a lawyer, maybe you know to actually package their cases very well. Yes. Take care of all the details. You know, the detail is the point now. Yes. If they had been more detailed,
the minutest details.
Yes, I'm sure that APC wouldn't have gone away with this.
Let's talk about the law now, which they say is a donkey capable of being applied to achieve many tasks. The Supreme Court judgment on the Ondo State governorship election petition was a case of using a stone to kill 2 birds for the ruling All Progressives Congress. On one hand, the judgment validated the election of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, and on the other, afforded the APC the grace to evaluate the competence of its caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, which is led by Governor Maimala Buni. A chieftain of the party, who is the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, has now warned that since the verdict of the Apex Court has called the Buni-led committee to question, opponents will challenge its competence and any Congress it organized. Mr. Keyamo, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, also urged the APC to act now and suspend the planned congresses, as it will amount to an exercise in futility. But the APC, in a statement earlier today, says the world congresses will go on as scheduled, and so the days ahead will be interesting. BKO, whose side are you on now? We're having two reactions, in fact, at least two reactions. Mr. Babajide Ojudu is also said to be aligning himself with the Keyamo position, as with Itai Enang. What do you make of this?
To preview what we said here yesterday.
On Wednesday, indeed.
Everything we said here yesterday was what Keyamo repeated. Just take a look at that footage again. The first thing I said was that APC was extremely lucky because the judgment could have gone either way. If the Supreme Court judges wanted to enrich our jurisdiction and teach politicians a lesson, they could have unanimously...
Even without Malabuni being a party?
Yes. Because whether it was a party or not, someone had gone against the law. Not just the APC constitution, but the Nigerian constitution. So I really don't see what...
which they acknowledged.
Yes, the truth is, Keyamo said the truth. The truth is always bitter for truth-hating people to accept. This party was going to be in this kind of mess in 2018. You remember that it was the VP that saved the power-hungry individuals in the APC from plunging the party into a big mess. The VP made a convincing argument, and at the end of the day, the four governors who rose up at that time to say no, Baba Oyegu must continue in office, just based on their own selfish interests. They had to eat humble pie in the end. But at the end of the day, the party was able to
listen.
To organize congresses, and the new leadership led by Oshomole, emerged. And Oshomole successfully led the party to victory in 2019. Now, what do we have? We have a caretaker committee. The constitution, neither the APC constitution nor the constitution of our country envisages a situation in which there will be a caretaker. No, there's no such thing as caretaker in the APC constitution. No such thing. The constitution did not also envisage that a person will be governor and he will occupy not just the position of governor, but will occupy the position of acting chairman as well. Is this not a democracy? Why are people scared to let the law take hold of the affairs of men?
Well, the APC's National Secretary is saying that while he will not join issues with Mr. Ojudu, Senator Enang, and the senior advocate of Nigeria, Keyamo, he's also saying that that judgment had no bearing on the whole caretaker extraordinary committee.
No problem.
And that the congresses will go on as scheduled.
Was it not the late Chibola Ige that said, I see, don't look. We're watching them. Because even the congresses are doomed to fail. If you recall, some days ago, Professor Keyamo said that some party chieftains in Delta were planning to hijack materials, to hijack the congresses. Magnus Abe issued a statement, Senator Magnus Abe. Remember, he was the one that did APC in 2019 elections in Rivers State. He issued a statement and said APC should find a way around it. And the same thing all over the place. So, what are you going ahead with? Congresses that are already mired in controversy. Then I read the statement of the Deputy Senate President, Omo Agege. Well, I found it somewhat strange, some of the arguments he was bringing up. That Malabuni, was caretaker committee chairman of APC, just helping out the party, as an assignment. He was now trying to equate it with chairmanship of the Governors Forum or President Buhari's chairmanship of the African Union. All that any interested party member needs to do is this. All right, you go ahead with the congresses. They will now, since you say the Supreme Court didn't directly address it, no problem. They will just simply take that strand and turn it into a case. Since there's already a minority judgment at the Supreme Court, it will form a basis for a long drawn-out suit. And let me tell you one thing these people don't realize. There is no time. So the basic thing is this: whether it was the minority that decided, because the Deputy Senate President, he also tried to play it up, that it was a minority, it was the minority judgment that brought it out. But you see, the law remains the law.
The split decision judgment of the Supreme Court over the Ondo State governorship seat was a game changer of sorts, if you ask me. In our country, as a ruling party, you must block a counter punch after you throw a first one. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu was affirmed the elected chief executive of the Ondo State of Nigeria under the All Progressives Congress APC party by a score of 4-3. This means that the opposition People's Democratic Party candidate, led by the gentleman Eyitayo Jegede, has lost a last-ditch attempt at overturning the election. And so a battle of nerves is in the offing. The APC must consider its future in this circumstance, and why not? You are either Machiavellian or cunning in your political dealings, or be a student of Robert Greene's 48 laws of power to survive in the game, Jide.
Yes, and
you know the first law now. Oga na number one.
Yes, so don't try to outshine your Oga.
Yeah.
If you try to outshine your Oga, it will show you the door.
Okay, that's law number 2.
The truth is, governors make a party strong. Governors can also weaken a party. Governors ensured that PDP was not able to retain power in 2015. They have a choice between taking a big risk that can cost them the 2023 election, because the letters of the Constitution are quite clear. And talking about this in particular, even one of the judges on the side of the majority, Justice Agim, made it clear that PDP lost because they did not join Malabuni in the suit.
In the suit, yeah.
Whereas the whole issues revolved around him. So he said he should have been considered a party to that suit. He should have been a party to the suit, since all of the issues revolved around him. Yeah. That was a fatal error that the PDP made that cost them that matter before the Supreme Court. Now, it's like you've been given an expo. It's like you've been forewarned. You've been forewarned that, look, if these guys had joined Bemalas Buni in the suit, the outcome would have been different. You've been told in clear terms by even one of the judges who elected to keep Akeredolu on his job.
Yeah.
So what further evidence do you need to know that refusing, that keeping the caretaker committee on their jobs at this time is putting the party at grave risk?
That's your Ondo State again in the news.
And the news, yeah.
But then I'm looking at Jegede, the future of Jegede here.
Well, the future of Jegede is in God's hand.
Political future.
But you know, it is over now. The storm is over. But the consequences of that judgment against Jegede will remain there. Who knows?
Who knows? Political storms.
Who knows?
They come with a gale that ceases almost immediately.
Tomorrow, Jegede may even join the APC. It doesn't matter. But seriously speaking, you know, it's not just about Jegede. It's about the what they call jurisprudential significance of the ruling. It's what we make or mar the APC. One thing is clear in this, the party should not just promote what Jide was talking about, emotion above reason and the law. They should look at what this thing. But even the idea of allowing the court to be deciding everything is an issue.
That's it.
They have their constitution, they know about this thing, they do every time.
You have a judicial victory,
yes,
you have a political
victory. But that thing, what they said about this thing should not be lost on them. In the first instance, let's push the law aside to decide, to talk about our country. Why should you even make a governor who has a job to do to be in office as chairman of a party for more than a year?
Oh, yeah.
Why? The law is there. It guides us. It's there.
There is law, there is morality.
There is law, there is morality. The letter, there is letter of the law, and there is the spirit of the law.
Yeah.
So why should they insist? Why is it not easy for the governor even yesterday to say, let me return to my state? It is over after a year, more than a year. As chairman of a party, is there nobody else within the party? I think they should consider the implications, the consequences of their actions at this time. They should adhere to the law, reason, letter of the law, and the spirit of the law.
Some leaders and residents of Matogun and Okpailu area of Agbado Okearo, a community in Lagos Ogun boundary area in Alagbado, have staged a peaceful protest to condemn the way trucks and articulated vehicles of a Chinese construction company are damaging their road. On Friday, the residents blocked the road in protest and vowed not to allow vehicles use the route till the management of the company supports the community, who raised about 4 million naira through self-help to fix the road. Residents of Matogun, Okpailu area and Agbado Okearo, these areas, one thing I've observed about these areas from before down the line, you discover that there's a big, wide infrastructural deficit when it comes to roads.
Yes, it's terrible. Many residents of Ogun State have been asking God that what is their sin? Because you just have a feeling that government has totally neglected these people. And for the government of Dapo Abiodun, the debt that they inherited means that they cannot attend to all these roads. Now you find people building roads by themselves.
Yes, this old retirees.
What we expect is when they even try to build this road by themselves, compact road by themselves and all that, it's very costly. When they tax themselves, the responsibility of government is to take it further. At least they have done something.
And
assist them to complete.
Company, even planning
now,
this.
Look at this now.
Oh,
people are meant to use these roads. Now, if you as a company cannot help them to fix the road,
I'm telling you,
then you should not damage the road further. That is their complaint.
By bringing
and they have to block the road. Yes. There's no way these kind of vehicles will not damage the roads that they constructed. That's why it's so painful. When you go to all of those areas, in fact, some of the major roads going through some communities are so bad that you have to avoid the road, pass through some inner roads.
Yes, I can tell you. Songo.
If you
you have to go through
Akute. Okay. Towards Olambe, you cannot go right through that road to maybe Abule. You have to enter inside some communities, and then not that roads were constructed in those communities. So you just have to find a way, because you get stuck, especially now that it's raining.
Don't you?
Well, it's sometimes shocking when we hear these stories. I'm sure not long ago you would have heard the story of a community that constructed a footbridge on its own, and the local government came there to collect money from people using that bridge.
Shameless
right here in Ogun State.
Shameless
This Ogun State.
So when we get to a point where governance has lost human feeling in a way. Because all of these things that we are talking about, there can be palliatives. What this community has done now is self-help. So why can't the government, like BKO said, take it a bit further?
To raise 4 million naira on their
Just
own.
do something and say, okay, you people have done something. You have shown willingness to have.
Just grade that road.
Help them.
Make it compact so that even when it rains, the impact will not be as much as it is now. It would have, you have something solid. I think government should also be focusing on that. Any community that decides to help itself should get further help.
Yes, that's all that we appeal for.
A Chief Magistrate Court in Yaba, Lagos, has remanded the 300-level mass communication student of the University of Lagos, Chidinma Ojukwu, and one Adedapo Quadri in prison custody over alleged murder of Chief Executive Officer of Super TV, Usifo Ataga, in June. Julie, this is an unfolding drama, and definitely we've not seen the last of this. And they are still gathering their facts. With the coming into this other name, Adedapo Quadri. So
it seems now that the police have established a case against Chidinma and against Adedapo Quadri. We don't know whether it's a prima facie case that they've established, but the police have every reason. They are convinced that both of them have something to do with the murder. So we just hope that the police will do a thorough job and this matter will be ultimately laid to rest. There have been too many murders that are unsolved in our country. We've had enough, so we hope that the truth will be known in the fullness of time.
GKB, the gruesome way this man was murdered, and Nigerians are very interested to see how things will unfold, as in how they will unravel the mystery behind this murder.
Well, I think that the first thing that we realized was the fact that the police are now doing the right thing. When they started, they were putting the cart before the horse. They were taking conventions with camera available, so that, which of course under some laws. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that they can say that those are confessions got under duress, and which cannot hold up in court. So I'm very happy that the police are now going through the normal process expected: investigate, arrest, then prosecute. Enough of media problems that we face. I'm very glad they are doing this, and I hope more.
It's still far from the tumbling cliff for the embattled national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Prince Uche Secondus. While the PDP Board of Trustees has resolved that Secondus be allowed to retain his seats, it's called for National Convention to usher in new party leaders latest by October. But some blocks within the party insist Secondus must be sacked for mismanaging the affairs of the party, which culminated in the loss of 3 governors. Yes, we thought this is a time that the People's Democratic Party will rise up to the challenge of being a viral opposition and face the ruling party head-on. But with this lingering crisis, they don't even have time to criticize or put the APC-led federal government on their toes. So they're battling with, internal wranglings.
Yes, everyone is positioning himself. All the posturings that we are seeing in APC, they are all geared towards 2023. What we are seeing in the PDP too is also geared towards gaining a strong foothold ahead of 2023. So the politics of 2023 is already being played in both parties. And this is not just a matter of, let's play the role of a good opposition. The PDP fancies its chances of reclaiming power. They think that the time is right for them to reclaim power. So, because many of them are confident that they can win the next election, they are trying to position themselves, gain advantage over other critical power people within the party. So this is what we are seeing. It is the Nigerian people who will decide which party will control the center in 2023. That's why we are seeing all of these problems. But the significant thing that I see that happened yesterday is the fact that rather than wait until the last week of November for Secondus's term to wind up officially, to take care of the crisis, to limit the capacity of this crisis to bring down the party, they've now moved the convention to October. All along,
not December.
No. That's one of the significant decisions that I took yesterday. All along, Secondus had been saying that, look, to have convention in October is not feasible because the state congresses, the world congress have not been held. That has always been his argument.
So this one now, they have to expect.
Now, but in order not to disgrace him out of office, because they imagine that if they have to wait until that time, they cannot predict what would happen. And this crisis will go on and on. So by announcing to them that, look, convention will happen in October, even his own enemies now know that, look, we just need to endure this man for like 1.5 months. And then he'll be out of the way. So that looks like a kind of middle point or some form of soft landing for Secondus himself. Because his supporters don't want him disgraced out of office. And his supporters want him to still be in charge at the time of the convention. That since he still has some time, why are you not prepared to wait until November? But now they brought it to October. So let's see what happens between now and that October. Will they allow him to preside over that neck? Because as I said yesterday, they don't even want him to preside over a neck that will decide who goes into the electoral committee that will handle the matter of election of new officers and all that, because they felt that allowing him to do that will give him the power to appoint the people who can help him to retain power.
BC, we've seen this kind of pattern before, but ultimately, do you think this will affect the chances of the People's Democratic Party in the next general election?
Well, first of all, we need to know that politics is a game of interest. And people there are there because of different kinds of interest. And that is the case all over the world. Just that in our own particular case, self-centered interest seem to take more space than people-oriented interest. Having said that, for PDP, I think this should have been a time for them to prove to be a very capable opposition that is ready to take over from the APC based on different complaints of Nigerians about the ruling party now. But the way things are going, it's as if the PDP is more interested also in personal interest of the powerful people in the party and not necessarily about what they can do for the country. And if people will have seen through everybody. For me, I would have loved a very, very vibrant opposition. But as things are, I think APC, PDP, everybody is just interested in power for personal aggrandizement.
The Nigerian Academy of Letters, which held its 22nd and 23rd combined convocation and investiture of new fellows, the Bishop of Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Right Reverend Matthew Asan Kuka, and 2 vice-chancellors were inducted into the academy. Let's hear the story from Sharon Ijason.
The Nigerian Academy of Letters held its 22nd and 23rd Convocation Lecture and Investiture of New Fellows. Delivering the convocation lecture titled Descent from Humanism, Music, Literature and the Media, Professor Olu Obafemi gave insights into how these variables can be used to spur positive change in the country.
And I've said that the media, music and literature should become more prophetic, more politically engaged in raising social awareness so as to restore, rekindle, and promote humanism and humanity. I've said that the essentialist principle of humanism, which deals with identity retrieval and identity marking, be more robustly engaged by the media and other literary arts through investigative and development journalism in tracking the concrete character and identity of the bandits, herdsmen, and other agencies of insurrection and insurgency on our land in order to be able to deal with it.
We are using the academy as a source of mentoring. You know, there is a lot of problems with the Nigerian university system, but you don't solve the problems by fiat or by simply disrupting the system. What you do basically is to try to use the same people, use the people within the system to reorient them in terms of their values. So you will see those people we are inducting as members. We have a number of them now. They are going through some level of mentoring. And we want to try to redefine the standards of operation within the academy. We also want to interface with the town, because the whole business of intellectual, if it doesn't get into, produce results in the town in terms of visible outcomes, then we're just basically talking to ourselves, and that in itself we're not encouraging it.
The Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Most Reverend Matthew Asan Kuka, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, and that of Federal University of Lokoja, were inducted into the Nigerian Academy of Letters. They made recommendations towards nation building based on their various fields of interest.
Full tools, for building a nation. In part because nation building is about myth creation. It's not necessarily telling things as they are. It's also that, even though that is important, it's also projecting a sense of what things could be. Many of us see all the things, wonderful things in America and Europe, and we think everything is hunky-dory. So it's not really so. So I think by appreciating this facet of our lives, we're also calling on those who have been on the trenches. First of all, commending them, but also appreciating the fact that it is people like Wole Soyinka and Chinua Achebe and a host of other people in this field of endeavor that have brought us to where we are. So it's a very vital tool for nation building.
We emphasize the essence of humanities in everything we do. Even with all the technology, sciences and things like that, the neglecting the humanity, the aspect that the disciplines in the humanities, I don't think it can work. I think multidisciplinary approach is the answer to solving some of the problems confronting us in the country today.
It's a standard expression that philosophers are not just meant to interpret the world, but to change it. And it is on record that we have a lot of challenges in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, there's one thing that I've been musing on for a very long time. I would want to present it in the form of a question within the context of Nigeria, that in Nigeria, are we actually in a nation state or in a state of nature? Because of the myriad of challenges, the obvious problems that we have permeating across our society. But there's hope for us in Nigeria anyway, because we have all the resources we need to build the kind of nation that we desire. But for that to happen, the first thing that we need to focus on is to see how to foster national consciousness beyond any individual or group.
So elated that I have been recognized and inducted to the preeminent Academy for Humanists in Nigeria. The Academy is one that provides solutions using the instrumentality of the humanities, studies in the humanities, and this aspect of study has been neglected.
Established in 1974 after recommendations for creation of the National Academics by the late Chief Jerome Udoji Committee, the Nigerian Academy of Letters comprises 4 categories of fellows. They are the Foundation Fellows, Regular Fellows, who are usually resident in the country, Overseas Fellows who stay abroad, and Honorary Fellows. Sharon Ijason, TVC News.
The Nigerian Academy of Letters, which held its 22nd and 23rd combined convocation and investiture of new fellows. Judy, quite intimidating.
I attended the event at the famous GF Adi Ajayi main auditorium of Unilag, and I was really impressed. You see, academics are special people. But within their ranks, they have no time for praising people. Nobody got a special recognition as they walked into the hall. Nobody was specially introduced. The job of the orator was simply to read people's citations. And that was it. And I became so convinced that we have so many brilliant people. It has pleased God to give us so many brilliant people in Nigeria. What we need to beg God to do for us is to equally give us good leaders. Because we've not been fortunate to have good leaders. When we are talking about good leaders, it's not simply to spend 8 years in office and do little things. Yes, Nigerians, you may think our standards are not high, but we need leaders, game-changing leaders. Leaders like that great Singaporean leader.
Lee Kuan Yew.
Those are the kind of leaders that we need. We have been taking massive steps backwards because the Nigeria of the 60s, just after independence, we were in the same class with Malaysia, with Singapore, with Brazil. Everyone has left us behind. But I still have hope in my nation that one day we will have one great leader and a succession of good leaders will come after that great leader. And then the destiny of our country will change for good. The ugly narrative about Nigeria will change for good. I'm happy, you know, I was very happy to be in the midst of these people. There was a particular academic that came all the way from the US to be honored. When they were reading a citation, I said, man, one human being.
I'm telling you.
Prizes for creative writing, prizes for all kinds of prizes from Nigeria and abroad. Fantastic academic. And everyone, they were just clapping. As they were clapping, they would just do like this because they knew there was still so much left. So it gives one hope when you are in the ranks of these academics, knowing what they have, knowing what they can offer our nation if the opportunity comes. So congratulations to all of the inductees. And I hope that they will continue to work for humanity. And you can see it was a very impressive crowd. At this kind of crowd, nobody will share 1,000 the way it happens in the political realm.
Who do you want to do 1,000?
Yet, people were happy to be there. And you will know that Father Kuka, Bishop Kuka is very popular because as soon as his name was called, come and see the ovation. When you truly work for the people will show their appreciation. It's as simple as that. There will be naysayers, but genuine people will appreciate your years of service to your country. That's my message for Bishop Hassan Kuka.
Congratulations to all the people that actually backed the award.